Hello folks, this is Andy, your favorite sniffer, coming to you here on a Tuesday. If you came to the video yesterday on a Monday, you were here on YouTube and you watched, you probably enjoyed the fruits of your sniff by the end of last night. My favorite pick, the LA Kings, that was an easy win. The Seattle Kraken, another easy win. The Winnipeg Jets, another easy win. The under in that Florida game, that was an easy win. Only had one disappointment. Those New York Islanders. And if the under 6.5 wasn't enough of a disappointment, once I learned that Alex Ovechkin wasn't playing and that Oshie's going to be sat out for the rest of the season, you want to know what I did? For those of you who came over to my Instagram, I gave the Islanders as a pick, because how dare I think that the Islanders, with 2 games remaining on the schedule to make the playoffs, would actually win a game in Washington when they're missing their best player, Alex Ovechkin, who the Capitals have not won without all season. No better time at the end of the year than to do it when it's going to eliminate the Islanders from the playoffs when I gave the pick and I want them to win. But that's how the cookie crumbles. You take mostly the good wins only to have the Islanders screw you. But other than that, it was a very great night. And coming off of how we finished last week, it's a nice little swing heading into playoffs. And I care. This all means nothing when the playoffs start. It's its own thing. But I'm just saying it's nice to have a couple good days leading into the playoffs and build up a little bit, when you weren't really expecting it. So that's nice. And tonight's Tuesday strategy, it's not going to be too dissimilar. If you didn't like those high minuses last night, you're not going to like them tonight, because I'm not betting on the Columbus Flyers game or whoever the hell these no-name teams. I'm not going to be taking those teams. There are specific teams that have a lot riding on these games, and I'm going to find ways, whether you like it or not, to get them on my betting tickets. The same way you should get a bet on Bet365 on your betting ticket, because they got a promotion, bet $1 on Bet365. You do that, you get credited with $200 in free bet credits, as long as you got a new account on there, you're over 21, and you're located in a state or province where sports betting is permitted. And if you have a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Someone's going to be there to help you out with that problem, as long as it's a gambling problem. Oh, no, maybe they might help you with another problem. You can't figure out how to replace the batteries and stuff. It's one of those Apple TV remotes that's just impossible to. Oh, they'll tell you. They'll tell you how to open it at 1-800-GAMBLER. Do you imagine that? If I worked at 1-800-GAMBLER and you called with an Apple TV remote problem, I'd be like, all right, look, you ain't gambling. All right, I'd be like, all right, get the big flat screwdriver and then press, turn, and rotate. Hey, he ain't gambling. I mean, I'm doing a pretty good job over here. But for those of you who do want to have your mitts in the pot on this Tuesday, that's not a real saying, just made it up. I'm going to start with the team that I like the most, and that's the Carolina Hurricanes, who I don't like the most. I currently think they're the 6th best team in the East after that Svechnikov injury. They're in full disarray. There's a reason I've left them off the ticket. But this is a situation that calls for the win. I had picked Carolina, I think, the last time against the Islanders, because I thought it was the right time. Haven't picked them since. They need this win to remain first in the Metro. They've lost so much since this Svechnikov injury that now the Devils can catch them and take first in the Metro. So they really need this one, and they're playing Detroit, who just got absolutely smacked by Dallas, and before that, absolutely smacked by Pittsburgh in their own building. Now, right now, nothing's a given with Carolina, but they really do need this game. A home loss against Detroit 1 week or 2 weeks after having Detroit beat them in the final minute in Detroit. This has got to be one that Carolina has to have. This has to be a Carolina win. I'm taking Carolina to take out the Detroit Red Wings, and I will okay the 60-minute line on this one. I think I saw it for like minus 160 or something like that. Then there's another one, and we're probably going to have to Caesar same game this, Bet365 same game this, or I know what you can do. It's the Pittsburgh Penguins. 2 wins and Crosby is in. You got to win in Detroit, and then if he beats Chicago at home and then Columbus, they're in the playoffs. Crosby came through in the last game. I would imagine he's going to come through once again. So give me the Pittsburgh Penguins, and you can take the classic Crosby assist. That will fight them down just a little bit. I know it's still not a great price. So what we can do then, You want to somehow get the Penguins at plus money, cherry on top it? Another fake saying. Take the Pittsburgh Penguins money line and you combine that with the under 6.5. By the time you watch this, it might be at 6, but just then bump it up. You got to bump it up to 6.5 for the Vegas Kraken under, because there's a ton of stuff going on in that. There is so much weirdly on the line in that game. The Kraken actually have third place in their hands. They have the game in hand, like I mentioned to you yesterday, which is why I like them, why I like the Kings. If they win out, they have back-to-back games against Vegas. They win both those games, they're guaranteed to be the third place in the division. I don't know if that is necessarily a good thing, though, because it means you're playing Edmonton. But you have that, and then you have Vegas fighting to remain the first seed with Edmonton right under them, and also Colorado, who's able to catch them. So take the under 6.5 and the Pittsburgh money line. That gets you up to plus money. Or you can take them, you can do whatever you want, but those are two picks that I like. Speaking of Edmonton, who's going for first, and speaking of Colorado, who's going for first, they're playing each other on this night. Now, if this was at any other point, and if Colorado was rolling McCall, if they had the full 6 defensemen like I was all excited about when they played Minnesota, and they had Lehkonen back, not even Landeskog, if they had Lehkonen in the defenseman, I'd say, go ahead, take them. There's reason to. They beat them both times this year. They were trailing both those games, came back in both. They swept them in the playoffs. They've beat them 6 straight. So there's plenty of reason to take them. They're at home. On the flip side, Edmonton's playing their best hockey of the year. They're on a massive winning streak. They're the hottest team in the league. And this game is secretly massive. This game is secretly massive. And I do weirdly think, Colorado, not so great in Anaheim. Not so great one of those games against the Sharks, so I think it's natural to say, well, they really haven't played that great. Remember how they played in that loss to the Wild? I know what they're capable of, but then again, without Makar is the best defender of Connor McDavid that you will see in the league, because he's the only person who can kind of go stride for stride for him. McDavid struggles. It's crazy. When you see a one-on-one, he always pulls back when it's Makar because he knows he can't blaze by him. But he's probably not going to be in this one. But there is a bet that I like because of that. Regardless of what you think might happen in this one, Devon Toews has filled in beyond admirably. He's registering points in all these games. He's running the top of that power play, and they're not switching off to other players. They're keeping him in that role, and he's been producing. So even if they end up losing this game, I like Devon Toews to register a point. But are they going to lose this game? If you make me decide I'm not betting against a team who's at home with a ton on the line going up against a team they've beat 6 times in a row. But if you need to click something on the Avalanche, I'd prefer the plus 1.5 because just getting a point for the Avalanche keeps their destiny in their hands. If the Avalanche get to overtime, then they can win out and win the division. So they really need 1 point in this game. 2 obviously would be the most ideal because they could, potentially catch Vegas. But 1 point for them keeps their destiny in their hand. So I'll take plus 1.5. And if you want on Bet365 or Caesars, combine that with a Toews point. And those are the picks that I have for you here on this relatively busy Tuesday, even though I'm staying away from some of the ruckus like I told you about with that Devils game. One thing that I can give you for that Devils game, I saw that they were going to keep that, if they keep that over-under at 7, I saw it open at 7, I'm going to take under on that. The same reason that I took the under on the Florida-Toronto game. The same reason I took the under 7 on Edmonton-LA. When everything's on the line, those over 7s are very rare. And I'll always go with an under 7 when things are on the line. I would rather an over 7 for that whatever weird Columbus game I saw on the schedule. That's way more likely to go over 7. They're having a grand old time out there, winging it around. These other teams who are fighting for things like the 1 seed, and no, I would rather take the under 7 on that one. And those are the final picks that I got for you. And I will give another pick on the Instagram once I sift through this stuff. Sometimes It allows me to go through the news during the day. You guys see this before I see a lot of the news, before I see the starting goalies. Another reason to follow me on Instagram and check that Sniff Central chat where I can update it and say, I don't really like this, I do like this. That's where you can get the extra picks. Once in a while, I drop one there on the weekend. You definitely want to be there for playoffs. So it's at Andy Francis. Honestly, that's my name on all social media platforms. And also, make sure that you're following the OddsShopper channel here, at OddsShopper. How do you know that? Because you're already here watching this video. All right, everybody, I will see you tomorrow. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Take it easy.